There's something unique about the way Sigma empaths handle betrayal. They forgive slowly, but when they finally leave, it's instant and absolute. They're not impulsive, not dramatic, not vengeful. They stay quiet, observing every pattern, testing every apology, watching every change that never truly comes. And once they see the truth for what it is, they don't argue, they vanish. No warnings, no closure, just silence. That's the Sigma empath's timing. Deliberate, patient, but final. They take their time because they believe in people's potential. They want to give chances, to heal, to understand. But when they realize someone keeps mistaking their compassion for weakness, something shifts inside them. Forgiveness turns into distance. Attachment turns into clarity. And love turns into silence. In this video, we'll explore why Sigma empaths forgive slowly but leave instantly, the psychology behind their patience, their breaking point, and the quiet way they reclaim their power. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Brainy Empath, the home for deep souls, quiet healers, and emotionally intelligent minds who feel everything but no longer let it control them. And tell me in the comments, do you forgive easily or do you leave the moment trust is broken? They don't forgive quickly because they process everything deeply before deciding. For the Sigma empath, forgiveness isn't an instant reaction. It's a slow internal process. They don't just feel pain, they study it. Every word, every action, every silence from the person who hurt them gets analyzed like puzzle pieces in their mind. While others may rush to move on, the Sigma empath sits in the discomfort, asking the questions no one else dares to. Why did this happen? What did it reveal? What does this teach me about them and about myself? That's why their forgiveness takes time, because it's not blind, it's conscious. They replay moments in their head, the subtle tone shifts, the changes in behavior, the little details most people forget. Their minds are wired to connect emotional dots. They can't simply brush off betrayal or pretend the hurt didn't happen. They need to understand it fully before they can release it. It's not about holding grudges, it's about seeking truth. The Sigma empath knows that forgiving too quickly often leads to repeating the same pain, so they wait, they process, they detach emotion from analysis until everything makes sense. This slow forgiveness often confuses others. People mistake their quietness for coldness, assuming they've moved on, when in reality, they're still sorting through the storm internally. The Sigma empath forgives only when they're sure, not when they're pressured. And once they reach that decision, it's real. Their forgiveness isn't temporary or performative. It's rooted in deep emotional clarity. But this depth comes with a cost. Because they see so clearly, they also remember so clearly. They might forgive, but they'll never forget the lesson. That's why they take their time. Because once they let go, there's no returning to old illusions. They forgive when they've fully processed the truth, not when someone demands peace before it's earned. For the Sigma empath, forgiveness isn't a favor, it's freedom. And that freedom only comes when they've turned pain into understanding. They forgive slowly, not because they're bitter, but because they're thorough. They want their heart clean, not clouded, and when they finally say, I forgive you, it's not a patch for the wound, it's proof they've healed it completely. Their empathy makes them patient, but that patience has limits. The Sigma empath is built with an uncommon kind of patience. They can endure what would break most people: misunderstandings, inconsistency, silence, even betrayal. Because their empathy runs deep, they always try to see the full picture before reacting. They tell themselves, maybe they're just hurt, maybe they didn't mean it, maybe they'll change. This patience comes from compassion, not weakness. They know people are imperfect, so they give them time to explain, to evolve, to do better. But what most people don't realize is that this patience isn't infinite. Every time they forgive, something inside quietly measures the cost. Sigma empaths wait longer than they should because they want to believe in goodness. They want to believe that love, effort, or understanding can fix what's broken, but with every repeated disappointment, something in them begins to shift. Their silence gets heavier, their eyes grow sharper, the warmth that once welcomed everyone starts to cool. They start to see patterns, the same apologies, the same promises, the same cycles of taking and taking and taking. That's when their patience begins to run out. When a Sigma empath finally reaches that invisible line, it's not a sudden snap, it's a quiet realization. They wake up one day and feel emotionally empty. They've poured out so much that there's nothing left to give. The compassion that once made them stay now gives them permission to go, because empathy without limits becomes self-destruction, and they've learned that the hard way. People often mistake the Sigma empath's patience for endless forgiveness, but they're wrong. Every time they tolerate pain, they're not ignoring it, they're taking notes, and once their heart decides enough is enough, it's final. There's no argument, no warning, no explosion, just distance. That's the paradox of the Sigma empath. Their heart makes them patient, but their wisdom gives them boundaries. They can understand your pain, your fear, even your mistakes, but they'll never let it become their prison. Because the moment their empathy starts costing their peace, their patience ends. And when that happens, the same heart that once stayed through everything will walk away without looking back. They observe patterns quietly to see if someone's change is real or just temporary. Sigma empaths rarely believe in words alone. They've heard too many promises, too many apologies, dressed in temporary good behavior. So instead of reacting to what people say, they step back and watch. They study patterns, tone, timing, consistency, and energy. To the outside world, it might seem like they're distant or passive, but in reality, they're collecting data with the precision of a mind that feels everything. They're not judging, they're measuring truth. Because they've learned that real change doesn't happen in speeches. It reveals itself in repetition. A Sigma empath knows that anyone can act right for a week. Anyone can pretend to care when guilt kicks in, but real transformation shows up in the quiet moments, when there's no audience, no reward, no pressure. So they wait. They listen to what isn't being said. They notice how someone treats them when no apology is on the table, when there's no benefit to being kind. They don't confront, they just observe. And that observation tells them everything they need to know. This is why manipulators struggle with Sigma empaths. You can't fake consistency around someone who sees through emotional patterns. The Sigma empath will let you talk, explain, and perform, but while you're doing that, they're reading your tone, your rhythm, your intent. Their empathy gives them insight, and their detachment gives them perspective. Together, they become a quiet force that's nearly impossible to deceive. They won't call you out right away. They'll give space, hoping maybe this time the change is real. But if they notice the same pattern reemerge, the same excuses, the same neglect, the same empty words, that's when their decision is made. Not loudly, not emotionally, but silently, deep inside. And when that happens, you'll never see it coming. Because the Sigma empath doesn't end relationships impulsively, they end them logically. They give people every chance to be real, and once they've seen enough, they walk away with calm certainty. For them, observation is protection. It's how they filter truth from performance, loyalty from convenience. And by the time they decide to leave, it's not out of anger, it's out of undeniable clarity. They've seen the pattern, and it won't change. When they forgive, it's for peace, not to rebuild what's already broken. When a Sigma empath forgives you, it's not a sign you're welcome back. It's a sign they're releasing the weight of your memory. Their forgiveness isn't an invitation, it's a conclusion. They don't forgive to start over. They forgive to stop caring, to free their mind from the endless replay of why things happened the way they did. They've learned that holding onto pain doesn't punish the other person. It just poisons their own peace. So when they finally forgive, it's not emotional, it's surgical. They cut the tie cleanly and quietly, not because they've forgotten, but because they're done. A Sigma empath's forgiveness takes time because they need to understand what the pain taught them. Once they've processed the lesson, once they've extracted the wisdom, they no longer have any use for resentment. But that doesn't mean they forget what was broken. Forgiveness doesn't erase the fracture, it simply removes the attachment to it. They can see the person, remember the story, and feel nothing. No bitterness, no longing, just peace. This is what most people don't understand about Sigma empaths. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. They can forgive you with a full heart and still never let you near them again, because once trust is broken, they see you differently, not with hate, but with clarity. They can empathize with your pain while knowing you're not safe for their energy. That's what makes their forgiveness so rare. It's mature, not emotional. It's healing, not hope. People often confuse their forgiveness for weakness, assuming it means access, but they're wrong. When a Sigma empath forgives, it's the final act before detachment. They're not looking to fix the bond, they're closing the emotional chapter so it no longer controls them. Forgiveness, for them, is a form of power, a quiet declaration that the past no longer has a hold. They don't need closure from anyone else, they give it to themselves. And when they reach that level of peace, it's irreversible. Because the moment they forgive you completely is the same moment they stop needing you entirely. Their forgiveness doesn't rebuild, it releases. It's not the beginning of another story, it's the graceful, final end. Once trust is gone, emotional connection fades, no matter how much love remains. For a Sigma empath, trust is the foundation of every emotional bond. Not words, not promises, but energy. It's the invisible thread that allows them to open their heart without fear. When that thread breaks, something deep inside them shifts. They may still care, still feel, still wish things were different, but the emotional connection begins to die quietly, not because they stopped loving, but because their spirit can no longer feel safe. Love without trust feels hollow to them, like a song with no melody. At first, they'll try to rebuild it. They'll give you chances, explanations, and time. They'll study your actions, searching for something real to hold on to. But once they realize the trust is gone for good, their heart naturally starts to withdraw. You'll notice it in their silence, in the way they no longer ask questions, no longer share their thoughts, no longer meet you halfway. The same empath who once felt everything now feels nothing. Not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. Sigma empaths don't fake connection. Their heart isn't in it. They can't pretend. That's why when trust dies, so does the relationship, even if the love remains. Because for them, love isn't enough without honesty, safety, and respect. They'd rather be alone in peace than together in doubt. Their detachment isn't a punishment, it's a boundary. It's how they protect their energy from being drained by something that no longer nourishes them. What makes this detachment so powerful is its quietness. There's no dramatic goodbye, no explosive ending, just distance, a slow, graceful retreat into emotional solitude. The other person might feel confused, thinking, but they still love me. And that's true, they probably do. But love for a Sigma empath isn't a reason to stay where their trust has been violated. It's a reason to wish you well from afar. That's the paradox of the Sigma empath. They can love deeply and let go completely. They don't destroy the bond, they simply stop feeding it. Because once the trust is broken, their heart no longer feels at home. And when the connection fades, it's not because they stopped caring, it's because they finally started caring about themselves. Their silence before leaving is the final warning most people ignore. When a Sigma empath goes quiet, it's not peace. It's the calm before a permanent goodbye. Their silence isn't emptiness. It's full of things they'll never say again. It's the final stage of exhaustion when explaining, forgiving, and hoping have all been drained from their system. Most people mistake this quiet for moodiness or detachment, but what they don't realize is that silence is a Sigma empath's final language. It's how they say, "I've seen enough." Before that silence arrives, they've already tried countless times. They've communicated, shown patience, given grace. They've tolerated inconsistency, hoping the good would outweigh the bad. But every broken promise, every dismissive response, every moment of being taken for granted adds up quietly inside them. When they reach their limit, they don't announce it. They simply disappear emotionally first. Conversations become shorter, smiles fade faster, and their presence starts feeling distant even when they're right next to you. The silence of a Sigma empath is not passive, it's powerful. It's observation, reflection, and decision-making wrapped in calm restraint. It's when they begin to detach not from the person, but from the illusion that things will change. They stop trying to be understood because they already understand everything, and that understanding brings closure long before they walk away. This is the part that shocks people the most. They think the empath's silence means there's still time to fix things, but by then the decision is already made. Their silence isn't waiting, it's processing, it's acceptance disguised as distance. And when they finally leave, it's not emotional, it's logical. They've thought through every angle, felt every emotion, and realized staying would only mean self-betrayal. Those who ignore that silence always regret it later, because once the Sigma empath stops explaining, they're already halfway gone. By the time they say nothing at all, it's too late. The bridge may still look intact, but inside, it's ash. Their silence was the warning, not a pause for forgiveness, but the quiet sound of a door closing forever. And the tragedy is, most people don't recognize it until they hear nothing but the echo of what's already gone. When they walk away, it's not anger, it's clarity. When a Sigma empath walks away, people often assume it's out of hurt or resentment, but that's not true. It's clarity. It's the moment they finally see the situation for what it is, stripped of excuses, potential, or promises. They no longer need closure, validation, or one last apology. They simply understand. And that understanding brings a kind of peace that no words could ever give. A Sigma empath's decision to leave never happens in chaos. It's quiet, deliberate, and absolute. Long before the final goodbye, they've already detached emotionally. They've studied your patterns, measured your energy, and felt every unspoken truth. They've analyzed the cycle, the highs that never lasted, the lows that always repeated, until one day it just stops affecting them. That's when you lose them. Not in a fight, not in an argument, but in a moment of calm realization, this no longer deserves my energy. That clarity is not coldness, it's wisdom earned through pain. They've learned that trying to change someone who refuses to grow is a slow form of self-destruction. So instead of begging for change, they create it by walking away. Their silence after leaving isn't revenge, it's peace reclaiming its space. It's them choosing inner balance over emotional chaos. And that choice is irreversible. People often confuse their calm departure with indifference, but if you knew what it took for them to reach that point, you'd understand it's anything but. It's years of suppressed emotion, of trying to make things work, of loving deeply and getting half effort in return. When a Sigma empath walks away, it's because they've finally accepted that they can love someone without needing to suffer for it. Clarity is their liberation. It's the moment they stop asking why and start saying enough. They don't burn bridges, they simply stop crossing them. And when they leave, they take their empathy, their presence, and their quiet, healing energy with them. What remains is the echo of everything they once gave freely. So if a Sigma empath walks away from you, don't mistake it for anger. It's not a reaction, it's revelation. They've finally seen the truth, and the truth gave them freedom. Because once they find peace in understanding, they never look back. After they leave, they never return, because peace feels better than attachment. Once a Sigma empath walks away, the door doesn't just close, it disappears. They don't leave to be chased, and they don't walk away to prove a point. They leave because they've found something stronger than attachment, peace. That peace isn't cold or distant, it's sacred. It's the quiet realization that healing isn't about getting back what broke you. It's about finally feeling whole without it. When they detach, they go through a deep transformation. At first, they grieve, not the person, but the version of themselves that tolerated what drained them. Then the silence becomes comforting. The solitude becomes home. They rediscover how it feels to think clearly, to breathe freely, to wake up without emotional weight on their chest. That feeling, that freedom, becomes addictive. And once they taste that level of inner calm, no amount of nostalgia or apology can lure them back into chaos. Sigma empaths don't believe in temporary peace. They've learned that people who break your peace once will do it again, no matter how many times they say I've changed. So they protect their energy with boundaries sharper than words. They can wish you well, send you love, even pray for your growth, but they'll do it from a distance that can't be crossed because their peace is not negotiable anymore. It's not that they stop caring, they just care differently. They care from afar without involvement. They remember but without emotion. They forgive but without reopening wounds. Their heart still holds empathy, but it's guarded by clarity. They've realized that attachment often disguises itself as love, but true love doesn't require pain to prove its depth. That's why once they leave, it's final. They don't look back, they don't test the waters, and they don't entertain what if. The chapter ends and they let it stay closed because they know peace isn't something you find in other people. It's something you build when you finally stop fighting for the wrong things. So when a Sigma empath walks away and never returns, don't mistake it for coldness. It's evolution. They've simply learned that nothing feels better than the kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else to exist. The Sigma empath's strength doesn't come from how much they endure, it comes from how peacefully they walk away. They don't chase closure, revenge, or validation. They choose peace, even when their heart still aches. Because once a Sigma empath finds calm within themselves, no chaos outside of them can touch it again. That's the true power of emotional evolution. The ability to love deeply, forgive silently, and still walk away completely free. If you're a Sigma empath who's learned to choose peace over attachment, remember this: you didn't lose anyone. You gained yourself. Your silence, your distance, and your boundaries are not coldness, they are wisdom. Before you go, comment peace if you've ever reached that stage where your calm became louder than your pain. And make sure to subscribe to Brainy Empath, where we uncover the depth, strength, and psychology behind the most misunderstood hearts in the world.